Lady Ada, what is this?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Show and Tell. It's your OG hosts, Miss Lady Ada, Mr. Lady Ada, here at the Adafruit Factory in downtown Manhattan. So we're broadcasting live. Some weeks we have known Pedro or Melissa or Liz or JP or Ann.
Our Florida crew's okay. We just talked to them.
They're okay.
But they are
hunkering
down, as they say, to get through this storm. So they'll be back next week.
Yes, so Noah and Pedro are not here this week.
Yeah,
but they're okay. They're okay.
Everyone's all right. We're checking in on them, and we'll make sure we'll continue to. So, and for all the folks that are in the Florida area and more, we are hoping Thing misses you. So, okay.
Okay, but let's kick it off. Starting off with Jepler and Jepler's keyboard.
Hello. Yeah. So I mentioned a couple times this cache of retro computer stuff that I got. And I got this Tandy personal computer keyboard from a friend, and a guide went live this week in which I convert it to use Circuit Python.
Ooh.
So if you just maybe come back to here for a second, little adapter with the special, each keyboard is different and has a different connector on it. So you got to source the connector from DigiKey.
Yeah.
But then you just got like power ground, reset, clock data into the Cutie Pie and load some Circuit Python software, and you've got a totally usable, adequate keyboard. And now if you come back over to
it's completely adequate.
It's completely adequate. There are some weird things. There are some weird things about this keyboard.
It's completely okay.
Here's a detail of the grime, which happily, it just cleaned up with soap and water. Some people go through chemicals and hydrogen peroxide to clean up their plastic. But as I took it apart, inside it's got these really wild key switches.
Whoa, that's not standard.
And yeah, so like the key switch plunges over this lever here to give it a good amount of travel, but really it's just activating a micro switch. And then this LED here actually goes with this here, which is the numlock key in some weird location. And so these old keyboards, they're just wild, and you can't get these switches anymore. So it's lucky all of mine are intact. This guy was made by Fujitsu for Tandy, and it's got an 8048 microcontroller in it, which I assume was programmed at the factory and can't be read out or changed.
It's ROM. Yeah, it's probably ROM burned. I mean, they definitely didn't have flash at the time.
No. Yeah, there's a detail of the weird light, numlock light again. And here's how it looked after I cleaned it all up.
Oh.
Looks good.
So yeah, it's a lovely keyboard. I think you really could use it as your everyday keyboard. You've got Alt, it's here somewhere, and you could reprogram this to be like your application key or whatever. You've got Control and Shift and Tab and Escape and all the good stuff. Another weird stuff is like here's the pipe key is on numpad 4. There's not a pipe key. I don't know why. I just didn't think it was super important yet.
This is pre-standard. This is, everyone. And what's in the top right? Is that like a roller? What's that?
In the top right? Oh, those are the feet. It's got these little feet.
Oh, and you rolled them from the top.
Yeah.
There's actually kind of cute little feet.
So, they're spring-loaded inside, and like everything else, it was intact, which I feel like is miraculous. So, if you just have to have one of these, I'm done with the guy making me an offer because these are rare. But no, not really.
Anyway, Bay. And use PIO on the RP2040,
yeah,
right?
It's using PIO because it's a clocked serial protocol, which normally CircuitPython would really have trouble handling that other device, driving the timing. But with the PIO peripheral, it can buffer up to 8 characters or 8 keystrokes before it gets lost. So it works really nice. So that's enough about keyboards. I'll just talk about one other thing, which is Wi-Fi support is merged for the Pico W, and it will be in an upcoming beta release. So a big thank you to everybody who tested and who just shared their excitement about getting to work on that. So there are some things we have to investigate and finish up. But like I put it through the paces with over 60,000 HTTP requests, and it just kept going. So it's really something. I'm really thrilled, and I'd invite you to try it out if you've got one sitting on your shelf.
Maybe somebody in Discord can pop the PR so people can see the see the progress. I do want to mention Jepler working extremely hard on it, and there's bugs that we're discovering, some of which are not in Circuit Python. Also, secure SSL TLS support is not ready yet. We're going to be working on that in the next couple of weeks. So we're investigating
how feasible that is. And
Yeah.
So we're going to get there, but for now, as long as it's a non-TLS SSL connection, it should just work.
Yeah. So yeah, I will drop the link once I sign off, and y'all can let me know how it works for you, because we think it's good.
Yay!
Thanks so much, Jeff.
Talk to you later.
All right, JP.
Hey guys.
And your Tower of Terror.
Yeah, it's back. So I think I've shown this, but it's been developing, and it's got a name now. This is Darth Faders.
Darth Vader, yeah.
Darth Faders, yeah. And it answers the question, why shouldn't I have a weird, vaguely threatening, ominous sci-fi prop thing that can move on my desk?
That's right.
The answer is you should. And so these are 3 motorized faders and 3D printed enclosure I made for it. And now I have one of our really easy to use Stemma QT breakout rotary encoders here. And so I can select individual animations from these poses or positions that I've set. This is sort of like a sequencer. So whenever you just feel like looking at it in a different spot, you can flip that over. These also are always measuring where they are. So they're like, hey, no, stop that. I'm going back to this position, which is
kind of passive aggressive there. Yeah.
It's a little bit, isn't it? You can also just decide to have it kind of breathing at you like Darth Vader and running through them all the time. So I just clicked the rotary encoder there, which is a push encoder, has a little button. And now it's just going to, every 4 seconds, go to a new position, hang out there, move to the next. It doesn't do anything other than that. Right now, it's just purely ornamental, but you could, of course, have this sending out USB stuff, MIDI control stuff, volume things. If you have an application that'll read in some sort of HID button presses or media presses as a volume controller. So you could extend it, but I just have it be in this kind of cool, weird thing on my desk. So that code just went into our Learn Guide repo last night, or actually this morning, and I'm going to be working on the guide for that so people can build their own set of Darth Faders.
This is the enclosure for James Earl Jones' voice. I think he retired doing
this
Darth
is where they
Vader.
keep it.
And he, I guess the way it worked, because whatever the rights are and how he thinks with his voice, it's licensed, or now it's part of an AI company that can continue to do the voice. It's all contractually bound. But this is the server that they should store it in.
I'll send them one.
Maybe you could circuit bend them and stuff like that. Like,
throw a pi in there that holds the AI for the voice.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, JP.
Yeah, thanks, JP.
All right, Liz, we're going to ask you to go now, and then at the very end, play us out, because you have a very special musical project this week.
Yes. So there's a game that kind of went nuts on the internet called Trombone Champ, and this is a controller for it. It's using QT Py RP2040 connected via USB, and then a Neo slider is moving the cursor up and down, and then an arcade button sends the toot, because you have to press a key to actually play the trombone, but you slide the mouse up and down to do the pitch. So using this, it's like you're playing an actual trombone.
Right.
And I don't have it hooked up right now to the sound, because I kind of have it in demo mode, because I get nervous having code while I'm live.
I will not play us out then.
Well, it's it actually does move your mouse, so it would be clicking, it would be clicking all over her screen, which I get.
Sending mail.
Yeah.
Deleting all your files.
Yes. So this will be this guide will be live shortly. If folks want to make their own, I know a couple folks have been making controllers, but this one, I think probably just a little bit simpler approach, where it's literally moving your mouse.
Okay.
All right. So we won't have you play it out, but maybe you'll have a video for the.
I will. Yeah. Yeah.
Wah wah.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much, Liz.
All right. Thanks, Liz.
All right, Phil B. Paint Your Dragon. What you got going on this week?
Hi, I have here a mini disc, which is this was a music format from the 1990s. Didn't really quite catch on here. It was big in Japan, but not here.
Every science fiction movie had this, how they're going to play.
Every cyberpunk movie required to have a mini.
Yeah, this is all how we play.
Data was and you'd shove that into your head or something.
Yeah, Johnny Mnemonic, Strange Days, The Matrix, they all involved.
RoboCop, Minority Report.
Yeah, so it's a little smaller than a 3.5-inch floppy, and there's a CD for comparison. It's not. I think everybody's heard of these. They're not super obscure, but anyway, the cyberpunk thing. Funny thing is on the CyberDeck PCB, which but there's little optical discs in the background.
Yes.
That cyberpunk thing.
Yeah.
So I always thought these were cool and wanted like a recorder, but not like so much that I was going to go spend $50 or $100 on eBay plus shipping to get one. And I lucked out a couple days ago at the thrift store.
Right.
Didn't work though. $10, but it was, it's
as is.
It's a crapshoot whether or not it's going to work, and it did not work. But brought it home, and like it was such an easy fix. And that's, I think, one of the cool things about this electronics hobby is, everything comes with the warning, no user serviceable part. But
yeah,
you learn about electronics, and which end of the dragon you can safely pull on.
Yeah.
So that's the cool thing with this hobby is it has dividends, and so I was able to get this working. And I don't know what the moral of the story of
what was it like a fuse, or was it a loose cable, or what was?
Yeah, it was a cable just needed reseated. I think it was just kind of oxidized. Just pull it out.
You know what? That's not, it's solid state. That's 90% of the work, but good work.
I think when you can repair things, because there's so many things getting thrown away, but when you can repair things, it really unlocks your ability to have fun with all of the stuff that's out there. Like you have a better, different experience because not only can you purchase a thing, but you could fix the thing, and you have a skill, and you can combine all these things together. So it's like you have a richer experience in your day-to-day because everything, you have a lens that's like, oh, I wonder if I can fix that, build it, do something, turn it into something else.
And if you can't fix it, it's like,
who cares?
It's cheap enough that I don't have to feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you rescued. I mean, you like saved a life here, a minidisc life.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like CPR that works. You're like, wow, that's cool.
Exactly. So anyway, it was just one of those lucky finds, and it worked out.
That's
and
cool.
So anyway, super cyberpunk.
All right. Okay. So what is that? A minidisc player, or what is it?
It is a recorder. They did make pre-recorded mini discs. And certain, there are play only boxes, but this one can actually record if you have a recordable mini disc.
Can you re-record? Is it one?
It is a magneto-optical format.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So if you have a recorder versus a player, it's a re-recordable magneto-optical disc.
Wow, I don't even remember seeing a re-recordable one. I remember I've seen the one-shot music ones, but and was that the same format used by the Sony Vita, right? Or was it? Or
Sony did make a lot of players. I don't remember.
Not recorders, but I think the video game system used the mini discs for.
Oh, that was a UMD. That was
UMD
a thing, and it's this weird, slightly triangular enclosure.
But is it the same?
It is not. It is.
It's not.
UMDs are smaller.
Format. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They love doing that.
Yeah. Sony likes having. That was Sony Duo Plus Pro, Lamore.
I know. How could I not tell the difference between like the three? Yeah. Look, I know the difference between that and a laser disc, right? That I know. Yeah. The interesting is magneto optical, not like laser optical. Interesting.
Right. Yeah. The play only ones are just standard laser.
Yeah.
Optical, but I don't have any of those yet.
Next up.
All right. Excellent find, and good to show folks there is an entire world waiting to be unlocked and puzzles to be solved that are otherwise going to get thrown in the trash.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I can send you some UMDs if you want. I think I have like 2 or 3. They came when I bought my PSP. It came with came with 2 of them.
All right.
Okay.
Next up, we're going to go to Travis, and then we will go to Paul. How you doing, Travis?
Hello.
Sorry.
Speaking of old electronic trash, I've got another high voltage thing. I call it an iTube, and it's an
cool.
Nice.
CRT.
Oh yeah, I've seen some of these before. These are neat.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the viewfinder out of an 80s video camera.
Yeah.
We were willing to do anything.
Yeah.
To get.
I like it because it almost looks biological. It's like this is
totally like
this is the eyeball from a cyborg.
Yeah, that's cool. What a nice build. I love the casing.
Yeah.
What's it playing on the screen?
It's an eyeball.
It's my friend's eyeball.
Oh, nice. Oh, there it is. Yeah.
That's why it's an iTube.
Yeah, excellent.
This is cool.
And then it's got a little charger on the back. Now, God, everything's reversed. Yeah, right there. And I used a light pipe for the first time.
Huh.
And that was hard to find. It's actually a new
light
old
pipes aren't
stock
used very much
from eBay. Huh?
The light pipe,
yeah,
or the
just like almost like light bright material, or like fiber optics, because the charger, the LEDs are facing on the onboard LED, and I needed an L. I needed a 90 to get it on the back. And so I was trying to find a light pipe. I can't find them anywhere. I had to find some old ones from like the 80s that would be in an old stereo or something.
Where'd you get the viewfinder from?
The viewfinder, I got a broken video camera off eBay for $10 shipped.
Sweet.
And then this is the viewfinder, so it's like 1 inch.
The $10 is apparently exactly what people are willing to pay.
I think the two Bootloaders were $10, but yeah. So like back then, they used a CRT as the viewfinder, and
all right. Well, this is awesome. If you can post up any info for people who want to replicate this type of project.
If you send us any links or photos, you can send it to pt@adafruit.com and we can put it up on the blog and everything. This looks great.
Okay. Yeah. And then I ended up using an older Pi because they had the composite video out on them.
Right.
Yeah.
Good idea.
They do have them out, but it's hard to get to. They come through the audio jack. They still have them.
Exactly.
But it's like you need to get the cable.
And it was I had actually done that video looper. The other tricky part was getting to seamlessly loop, and I used the OMX player for that. But
that's really hard.
I did that a long time ago. That video part for another project, and then I I've been getting all into this high voltage stuff, so I knew I had that little player looping eyeball laying around, and I go, I'll just throw that in here and.
That's cool.
That looks good. All right. Well, nice work.
Well, thank you so much. Excellent project.
Nice work, Tavis. Looks awesome. All you need is a couple of laser discs, and you're ready for the cyberpunk future.
Hey, Paul, what's going on?
Paul. I have not one but two podcasts now that I talk about Circuit Python on.
Really?
Wow.
They're doubling.
We're doubling up and double the hosts. I'm doing this one with Todd Kurt from the Circuit Python community.
Oh, lovely.
So where can people find out about these?
They can search their favorite podcast app for The Bootloader or go to thebootloader.net. And we've got all the links there to subscribe in the apps. And we just launched our first episode on Monday. Talked a little bit about TO and what a great open source project that is.
Yeah.
Todd shared a little bit about camera support on Circuit Python, and then we talked a little 3D printing and a couple other tech news type of things.
All right, on.
That sounds fun.
Well, as you boot up Bootloader, let us know. We'll add, if there anything with Python or Circuit Python, we'll get the word out in the newsletters and some blog posts. You can send it to Ann and I, and we'll help get the word out. What is the topics that you're like? Obviously, Circuit Python show, a lot of Circuit Python stuff. What are some of the topics that are going to be in Bootloader?
Anything from the tech and maker scene. So it could be Circuit Python one week, it could be MicroPython the following week, it could be Arduino. Whatever,
cool. I like that. Different stuff every week.
Yeah, I'm glad you're doing this. There isn't an audio or even video only. There's Maker Update, but it's definitely a different type of format. There isn't like a long form interview or getting to know some of the makers. Back in the day at Make Magazine, Bree and I, when we were doing the Maker podcast, we were doing interviews and having some stuff. But it's something that I really think getting the stories of the makers out and talking to them and understanding like, oh, this is not just like the end result, but how they got there. And like, oh, like how did they figure out they wanted to do this project? Like show and tell is a very small version of that. Philby is like, went to the thrift store, got this thing, and here's this piece of tech. And you the previous person, Tavis, like, oh, I had this eyeball footage and this is this thing. And really helps people discover all of the projects that they might want to do. But it's not just like, here's a photo and it's too intimidating. And I don't know if I'm going to learn all those skills. It's like, oh, no, here's a story from someone that I can relate to.
Yeah, you should have Tavis on the show because I think people would love to see.
There we go.
You guys connect up because everyone loves high voltage.
That's a good idea.
Electronics with eyeballs.
Reach out to the folks around Show and Tell because you know we only each week we're like, okay, 5 minutes, go.
Yeah,
and
we don't have time to really.
During COVID, peak COVID, I should say, or whatever, 2 years ago.
Lockdown time.
Yeah, we knew that having a long Show and Tell would be helpful for folks because a lot of folks were at home. We were at the factory at night or in the morning or different parts during the day, but we knew a lot of folks were home and we wanted to find something to bring people together and just people showing their projects and sharing stories. Help. No one knew how to handle stuff or what was going on. So more stories from makers.
And I've got Braden Lane on the Circuit Python show next week, who's got some really cool Circuit Python products, from a macro pad called the Joypad to lots of shiny lights that we talk about. He's got a couple Lumens products.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff that showed off recently. All right, Paul. Well, thank you so much for doing all this and spreading the stories and information about all the stuff going on in electronics. It really is the best time to be doing electronics.
And now you can almost kind of get some parts once in a while.
Yeah, so. No, that's changing. It is getting better. Like we've started to, as one content creator to the other, we've started to shift from chip shortage to real world. So, eventually, I guess we'll when there's too many electronic parts, we'll have like
part flood. Yeah, surplus
wars.
Yeah. We do have some time. We have a couple.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have that. But anyways, all right. Well, thanks so much, Paul. Good to see you.
Thanks.
Bye.
All right, everybody. That is our show and tell this week. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. We're here every week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your projects. Please come by, show some of the things you built, some of the retro things you found, some of the things that maybe you have in the attic that you're like, oh, here's a cool old thing. All these things are welcome and all folks are welcome. We'll see everybody in a few minutes. Ask an Engineer starts in about 5 minutes or so.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
See you in about 5 minutes.